This conference will
Oh,
now be recorded.
okay, guys. Welcome to our MS group meeting tonight. I apologize. I am in a hotel room tonight, so my internet is very, very weak, and my video camera is not working, and my normal IT help is not with me tonight. So I'm dialing in on audio with my phone so I can hear you and I can see you as long as my Wi-Fi is okay. If you need me to see something you're doing and you're frozen, you're going to have to tell me auto. I have to hear it because I might not be able to see it visually because of my crappy Wi-Fi. So I apologize for the inconvenience. I'm sorry you can't see my lovely face today. It's not that I didn't choose to be on camera. The computer is choosing to not show my face tonight. Okay. So without further ado, let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. My name is Kim. I am from Des Moines, Iowa. I have had MS diagnosed since 2012, currently on Ocrevus and relapsing remitting. And let's go on to Frank. Frank, go ahead and introduce yourself, and did you need any time tonight? You are on mute to my knowledge.
I'm unmuted now. I'm Frank
Thank you.
Austin. I'm Frank Austin from Plainville, Kansas. I've had MS while I was diagnosed in 1997. I've had it a lot longer than that, though. I am on absolutely nothing, and I have secondary progressive MS. And I don't need any time.
No time tonight? Okay. Thank you. Okay, next let's do Marlo. Marlo, welcome, and please introduce yourself. And did you need time tonight?
Marlo, Sterling Heights, Michigan. Diagnosed in 22, dimethyl fumarate. I do not need time. I don't need time.
Okay. Thank you, Marlo. Marie, welcome, and please introduce yourself. You are also on mute, Marie.
There it is. Okay.
Thank you.
I'm Marie from New Jersey. Got diagnosed in 2021. I'm on Ocrevus. In fact, I recently had the infusion. So if I go out early today, don't be offended. It's just I'm tired. And I'm progressing, relapsing MS. I don't need any time today.
Okay. Thank you, Marie. Andrea, welcome, and introduce yourself, please, and let me know if you need time tonight.
Hi, my name is Andrea. I am on the North Carolina Outer Banks. I was diagnosed in 2012 with relapsing MS. I am on Ocrevus. I do not need time, and yeah, there you go.
Thank you, Andrea. Appreciate it. And then we have Carmen. Carmen, thank you for coming. Welcome. Please introduce yourself and let us know. I'm assuming you need time tonight if you were asking to get photos, so I'm going to put you down for yes. There's a preemptive, but go ahead and introduce yourself, please, Carmen.
Hi, I'm Carmen from Canada, from Kelowna, Canada, actually. So in case you've heard anything in the news about the wildfires, that's where I'm from. Anyway, I have primary progressive MS, diagnosed in I keep saying 2014, but it might have been 2013 actually. Anyway, doesn't matter. I'm on Ocrevus, and I do need some time, not only about the fires, but just a little bit about primary progressive and relapses. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Carmen. And I think I've got everybody. So go ahead and start us off, Carmen, please.
Okay.
Did you get those photos of Rick?
Oh, okay. I have a few pictures. So I don't know if you guys have heard the news, but some of the wildfires are burning right in my backyard, literally. So on Thursday evening, there was a fire that started about 15 kilometers outside of town. And we live by a huge lake, like it's an 80-kilometer long lake, but the valley, we live sort of inside the valley in one sort of the middle of it. And the fire was over here. Oh, where's my hands? The fire was over here. And then we live way over here. And a huge wind started. It was just unreal, like unbelievable. So just got a few pictures, and we're very far away. Like we're at least 10 kilometers even just from the lake, and then from there it was 10 kilometers to the edge of the city where the fire came. And so I'm just sharing a few pictures. We could see flames from our deck. It was unbelievable. Not like direct flames, but the orange and the moving, like they were flames. It was just unreal. And the smoke has been so intense. So if Rick has those pictures, I just wanted to just share a little bit
The
quickly.
only pictures I have is from HP Source. I don't have any other pictures.
Oh, okay.
I've got,
Do
I think, let me just make sure. I got one, two, three. I got three great pictures of HP Source.
oh yeah,
And for those,
I
and for
had one.
those of you who don't know what HP is, it stands for Houses of Parliament.
Kim and I are working on a project. I
Okay.
can just show you a few things on my phone, I guess. Hopefully hopefully you can see it. I have to get it to the right. The problem with getting it in the camera is I can't then see. Can you see
Move it
that?
to your left a little bit more.
Okay,
Move it to your left.
there.
There you go.
Left a little bit more. Up just slightly. Up a little bit.
Up.
Just slightly.
Okay.
Perfect.
Up. Perfect. And a little bit to your right because it looks like the flames are on the one side.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
yeah,
aren't
I can see the
this one.
smoke and the flames and
To the
wow,
right, you can see
that's
the
intense,
flames.
Carmen.
That was at the beginning, and oh, just a sec. Sorry. Shit. Sorry. Man, you touch your screen once and then it just disappears, right? As it intensified.
Oh my
Oh, that's
gosh.
good right there. Right there. That's good.
And then if you look beside the garage, you see one tree and then the two trees there. Just keep
Yeah.
that in mind.
Uh-oh.
Oh, just getting darker. I mean, it's just sort of the same view.
Yeah.
That's a lot of smoke.
Oh,
Yes, it is.
so this is some of the flames that could be. Just a minute. I gotta get the right angle here. Maybe the light is too bright. This angle is not good. You can't even see the orange. A second. I have to get. I don't know. Maybe you can't even see it. It just was unbelievable. And but as it got dark, like the whole thing was just glowing. So it just was really intense, very, very intense. And then we've had thick smoke. That's just been awful. So we've all just been hiding in our house and trying to avoid the smoke. Our landfill started on fire, and it's just
Are
been.
you prepared if they end up evacuating you?
Yeah, so it jumped the lake, and the lake is about 2.5 kilometers wide, so like a mile
Wow.
basically, and all of the embers. And honestly, people were finding things this big, like burnt pieces of bark this big on this
Yeah.
side of the lake. So it jumped the lake, and about 10 houses were lost, but like huge evacuations happened at about 10:30 at night. It was just unbelievable. So we had a fire exactly 20 years ago here that we lost over 200 homes. This is predicted, like they're still counting, but it's about 190 in the main areas. It's around 200 homes lost. So anyway, we're really far away from it, but because it jumped the lake, the way that the wind was going, it could have come our way. So like us and our neighbors, we had our hitches on our truck ready to to throw our trailer onto the truck and pull out, but there wasn't really a lot of places to go. So anyway, it's just been really, really intense around here. and so much heartbreak. Like we've got two friends actually that had lakefront homes where my husband had actually built the mechanical rooms, and one was a brand new house that was built like within the last 3 years, and all you can see is the metal roof in pieces on a pile of rubble. It's unbelievable. It really is. So the power of fire, just unreal. Anyway, I just wanted to share in case you guys have heard anything on the news. Now you have a personal connection to someone from that area. And it's not
Thank
just
you.
here, it's like province wide. There's so many areas that are under evacuation, and it's really scary. So climate change, whatever it's coming from, is real. Maybe it's part of a natural like cycle, but it's not being helped by humankind, that's for sure.
And you're not under any threat for losing your electricity or anything like that?
Not so far, no. There are some areas that have, and some areas that have like lost cable or cell service, but no,
Mhm.
not us. Like we're in the city, basically, a outlying area of the city, but we're okay, thank God. The smoke,
Is
that's the
there
worst thing.
is there any concern, because I haven't followed the forest fires in Canada that much, is there any concerns that since fall is coming upon you guys, that when you start having all the dry leaves and everything, that it could worsen the situation? Or they're
Well,
not,
we live
that's
with
not a
pine
concern?
trees. We have more pine trees. Like we
Okay.
do have deciduous trees as well, but it's the pine trees. There's always been talk about how like nature, there's always fires, and Aboriginal people used to actually do controlled burns in order to avoid these kinds of things. And so like people have gone away from that where there used to be a lot of forestry management. So now there are discussions about maybe we need to do more active forestry management so that things like this don't happen. I think a lot of cities are going to be looking at building protective barriers around their cities because another city has been threatened for a number of weeks, actually. It's very dependent on wind. In one area, it went, what did they say, 20 kilometers in 12 hours. Yeah, it moved 20 kilometers. And this was another lakeside where people have, like, their cabins and everything is just gone. So,
Well, I feel like we've been hearing about the fires in Canada since like spring. Are they different fires or is it all the same fire?
no, there's been lots of different fires. Like on the East Coast, there have been a number of big fires. I'm not even sure exactly where, but I think near Halifax, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick.
Mhm.
So some of those provinces have had fire, but BC is the one that is most actively, like we're the West Coast and the whole province. I mean, if you see a map, it shows our drought level is at a red level, and that's our whole valley and surrounding, and most of the province is at least yellow. So it's really due to the drought. Like our climate has changed so much.
No, we've been inundated with stories from Hawaii
Uh-huh.
recently. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, we feel for those people that experience that. And I mean, some
Like,
people, some neighborhoods have had that happen too.
yep. Yep.
Anyway, thanks for listening. I just thought I'd share that.
Thanks for sharing.
Hmm.
Anyone else have any comments about the wildfires?
Have you guys had a lot of smoke? Like how many people are being impacted by smoke?
I was affected by smoke in like June and July.
That's what I was gonna say,
I,
more in the spring. Yeah, when I guess because I'm East Coast, yeah.
Right. Where are you, Andrea? You
North
Outer
Carolina, Outer Banks,
Oh,
on the
hmm.
coast, yeah.
Yeah, you would have gotten some from the East Coast fires, I think.
Hmm.
Yeah.
In
So I
July, we
just
could
want.
smell it.
What's that?
In July, we could smell it. In
Right.
Detroit,
Yeah.
Detroit area,
Oh,
yeah.
wow. Yeah. Oh, like if
Yeah.
you spent any time out on the weekend when it was so thick, honestly, it felt like I had slept by a campfire burning wet wood and you just wanted to barf. And just a few minutes, you'd be out. Actually, it was my hair that was the worst. I had my hair down for a few minutes outside and I came in and I was like, oh my God, it's awful. Like you just had to. But what it brought to mind was being prepared for an emergency because I live in a city. we haven't ever felt that active of a threat. And I started thinking like, oh yeah, I've got my medications all organized, but like I need more than just medication. Like I need other supplies. So it really kind of brought to mind things that I need to have ready to go if I was ever to need to like take off. So yeah, maybe it's been a good exercise in that way. That's about the only good thing from it though.
So we have a number of AnCanners who live on Maui. Fortunately, a couple of them are not there right now. One's in Minneapolis and another one is in Bend, Oregon. One of them is on the island. And the one who's in Minneapolis, his son is part of the emergency crew because he maintains a couple of water plants out there. And it's been pretty devastating. Like
Mm-hmm.
with Carmen, these are small communities. Everybody knows everybody else. So when you have so many people lost, you can't help but know
Yeah.
some of the folks. And what's even worse in Maui is that they still haven't figured out who's lost. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I heard of a situation just today where um, somebody thought that they'd lost their brother because they hadn't heard from him, but then he showed up staying in a Airbnb or something, because people don't even have ways of communicating because the phones
All
are all down.
services. Right. Yeah.
So
My brother is a firefighter too, so I'm sure I'm going to be hearing some interesting stories. But even just some of the things where, like, we've seen a video of one lone firefighter standing at the edge of kind of a gully where people can see from their security camera, and they're watching them with hoses fight off this wall of fire. I mean, it's a massive wall of fire that's coming at them, and they saved the house, you know? And I'm sure there's going to be lots of stories like that. We had over 500 fire personnel in action on Sunday, I think. Like people, like firefighters have come from all over the province and even from, I don't know where else lots of different places. But yeah, Rick, yeah, like we haven't lost anybody here so far. Like there's been no reports of any fatalities, thankfully, but by the grace of God.
yeah, I mean, Mike will tell you too. I mean, we've had fires pretty close here, like within 5 kilometers, but the excuse me, within 5 miles, 8 kilometers, but there is a mountain range in between.
Where are
So
you?
deep southern Arizona.
Oh,
And
mhm.
we had a fire that burnt for about 2 weeks last month, and it was really close as the crow flies, but it really didn't endanger us because it would have had to have come over a mountain ridge to get to us. So that was good. Although I went down to the lake one day on a Sunday about a month ago and couldn't use it because it was a staging area, and so they
Yeah.
were picking up water from the lake. And then the week before, because the fire had been burning, the week before I was rowing on the lake and I'm seeing all these planes coming in, and I'm thinking, did they change the flight lines or
Mm.
but it was actually they were the planes dropping the
Yep.
red powder that
Oh, yeah,
were,
the retardant. Hmm.
yeah, the retardant, right.
Well, and we're a tourist town too, so like people were ordered to leave. There was restrictions on travel. They're just lifting them, but they needed to kick all the tourists out because nobody had anywhere to stay. Like we've got a place set up in our like our it's called Prospera Place, like a place where you'd have concerts or hockey games, a stadium, and beds set up there because there was just nowhere to go. So a lot of people have now left, but that then impacts financially a lot of people because they all rely on the tourist business. So,
Yeah.
but talking about planes, like there's a set of can't forget what I can't remember what they're called, but there's a set of small fire bombers, and there's like 5 or 6 of them, and they come into the lake all like one after another, and take off, and then like water bomb specifically where firefighters have requested. And it's just amazing to see. So like the lake is off limits, people can't boat, and now it's supposed to go back up to like 33 degrees again, which is close, like 90, 95. It's been 100 for the week before. So like I was hiding out in the house because of the heat. Now I'm hiding out because of the smoke. It's just not been great. Although I'm grateful to just have my home and be okay. Anyway,
Yep.
that's the story there. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, and don't
Thanks, Carmen.
underestimate the danger of the smoke either. You don't want to be breathing that in either.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, people have pulled out their N95s again,
Yep.
which is like, okay, I can use that and not even have to feel silly about it, because fall
Which
is
is
coming
which
and
is always fun in 33-degree weather,
oh yeah, oh yeah,
Ugh,
yeah,
ugh.
definitely. Oh,
Well, let's
thanks for
introduce the three
commiserating,
people
Andrea.
that let's introduce the three people that showed in after we did introductions, and then maybe we can come back to this. So, Mike, welcome. Introduce yourself, and please let me know if you need time tonight.
Thank you, Kim.
You're welcome.
I'm Mike from Arizona. Live near Rick, and I don't think I need any time tonight, but I do.
Okay.
I have a story to relay about carbamazepine and
Okay. Let me get through the rest of the introductions, and we'll get back to you on the Techertel. Okay.
great. Yep.
Great. Thank you so much, Mike. Okay, Karen, welcome. Please introduce yourself and let us know if you need time tonight.
Sorry, I'm doing things, so I'm off the camera. I'm dressed. I'm Karen. I'm in Oakland. Yeah, I thought about you, Carmen. We had fires around here before, and it just keeps getting worse. But when you're not actually dealing with it, you're just thankful, which is what I am. And yeah, I'll give a little update. I don't remember what was on my mind, but I'm sure it'll come back to me.
Okay, thank you, Karen. And Sherry, welcome. Introduce yourself, and please let us know if you need some time tonight to talk.
I'm Sherry from Michigan. Maybe a minute to talk, please.
Okay, great. And just for the people that came in late tonight, I'm in a hotel, so my Wi-Fi is not so great, so I am on audio, and my camera decided not to work. So it's not that I don't want to be on camera. It's just one of those days of technology. So please bear with me. If for some reason you're writing something in the chat or talking, like if I'm not getting something, you have to tell me by hearing audio-wise, because I have such crappy, you guys are all a little pixelated sometimes and little jerky motions, so I'm glad I'm on my phone for audio. So let's circle back around to Mike. You wanted to talk about the medication, the Techertel carbamazepine. There we go.
I got a call from a member of our group who's got a sister, and she thinks she has trigeminal neuralgia, or neuralgia, and she had not seen a neurologist, and she hadn't taken anything for it, but it was driving her crazy. I shared my experience with the trigeminal, what I thought was trigeminal, and my neurologist, excuse me, from the Mayo Clinic put me on carbamazepine, which is an old drug. It's sort of like a phenobarbital, and I wasn't on it very long, and then my symptoms all went away. So I think I never had it in the first place, but I did share that with Darren, and her doctor put her on it. And between that and the gabapentin, she's I think without pain right now. So that's a combination some people might want to keep in mind.
Yep. So
Thank you.
my mic was kind not to mention names, but it was actually my sister, and so I connected her to Mike, and she still is waiting for an appointment with the neurologist. But in the interim, her PCP agreed to start the carbamazepine based on Mike's experience, and it was prescribed to Mike by his neurologist at Mayo, and she also upped her gabapentin a tad. She's not completely pain free, but she's much better, and so yes, that combination of carbamazepine and gabapentin may be helpful to other folks that have to deal with TGN. I mean, I've run across at least three people, because Jen is included, Jennifer, Jen Digman, and two other people who have resolved it with surgery. But I guess if you can avoid that, then you're better off. And of
Nothing is
course,
more exciting to hear that someone took medication and is getting an amazing response and having your symptoms resolve or minimize. That is just, I can't tell you how amazing and exciting, how much that fills my heart to hear. Because we always, a lot of times when this group, we talk about, tried this, didn't work, then tried this, had bad side effects. And here you're like, hey, my trigeminal neuralgia went away. And we're just like, whoa, I can't believe that happened. That is amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that, Mike. That is awesome to hear.
Especially so quickly. My
Yes.
sister started on gabapentin and it took forever, and she was really impacted by the gabapentin. So it's not always like that. So I'm glad to hear that too.
Well, Darren started on a pretty low dose of gabapentin because she's super sensitive to everything, and soon as she started on it, she said it did make some impact, but not a lot. But when she added the carbamazepine, it made a definite impact. And when I talked to her, I think it was on Sunday, and she said, well, it's 2 weeks and I seem to be doing better. I said, well, 2 weeks is 2 weeks. So, maybe you are doing better. Maybe you actually are doing better. But the reason I'm so glad Mike raised this is because what we do know, and probably Kim knows more about this than I do, is that there is a definite increased frequency of TGN with certain other conditions like MS and also fibromyalgia. So, so we do see it, I think, more in the MS community than we would do in the general public. So this is great knowledge to have in this group if someone else comes in.
Just because we're talking about carbamazepine, I had just started that last week for pain, but it just snowed me. I mean, it was too strong of a dose, obviously, but I started taking 100 milligrams every 12 hours, and I could hardly move. It was
Wow.
unreal. I mean, I'm really sensitive to Xanadine and Baclofen as well. Like, I only take them at night in a small dose, and I don't even know if it's really doing its job because I'm taking such a small dose, because otherwise I'm so my legs are just so weak and heavy. Have other people had that if you've used carbamazepine?
Oh, I've got that from Baclofen, though. I still take it, 10 milligrams twice a day, but it's tolerable.
Mm-hmm.
Marlo, did the symptoms get better with time or did they stay the same?
They got better right away with Baclofen.
And how about the side effects, Marlo? Do the side effects get better with time, or is it just as tough taking it now as it's always been?
I mean, I'm so lucky I don't have side effects.
Okay, that's great. That's great. That's good to hear. And what drug is it that you're using?
Dimethylfumarate and Baclofen.
And Baclofen, yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, Sherry, I
Any
know
other?
you. I was just going to say, Sherry, I know you've mentioned that you get attacks of TGM from time to time. So I don't know how well you can tolerate it, but just bear in mind that this carbamazepine and the gabapentin in some combination, probably starting pretty low, but it might be worth talking to your doc about it just to ease it when it does come.
Thank you.
Anyone else have anything they wanted to say before we go into the next person? Okay. Karen, you're up. Did you figure out what you wanted to say, Karen? Or did you want us to go to Sherry next?
Well, I don't care. I'm already here. I already had to dry my finger. I'm in the kitchen. Yeah, I just wanted to. Well, I wanted to ask you because you said you got a letter from the Mayo Clinic that they were getting rid of you.
No. Okay, so back up here. Okay, so I had to call them in June asking, hey, I want to set up all my stuff, because I see the neurologist, I get my MRI done, and I see the neuropsychologist all in one day because I'm from out of town. And they were trying to tell me that they no longer do ongoing care. They only do consultative care. And I said, I have to see my neurologist. And they're like, well, we might see another neurologist. But nope, I need to see mine because we have established a relationship. So when I came back from my trip a couple of weeks later, I actually got in the mail, not through the online portal, schedule of everything was done. I'm seeing the neurologist I normally see, getting my MRI done, and I see the neuropsychologist on top of that all in one day, like I requested. So I was very grateful for that.
So what was that about? What do you think that was about? I have a reason for asking, but what do you think that was about?
I think it's just they're changing their model and what's probably most what they can get most better reimbursements. That's what I believe.
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna give the doomsday report to people. It's not yet personal, but yeah, it seems like healthcare is really just consolidating, cutting, everything's like that. The banks are closing, the stores don't have checkers, that, they just automated so much. And with my, I don't know if I can make this better. With my injured finger, I got another dose of the conveyor belt of insanity. Just crazy. And people don't know anything. I mean, they don't know anything. So I just want to caution everybody, not that you can find somebody else, but medical assistants, they don't have any clinical knowledge and they don't make any independent decisions. And that's the gateway to your doctor. They have 2,000 to 2,500 patients. It's absolutely insane. And they're all getting burnt out. And I was reading today, like in Ohio, they're knocking people out of Medicare. And it's just like every day there's like a new wrinkle of what the hell is going on here. So yeah, I like my financial medical assistants got changed. It's not going to be catastrophically money wise killing me, but it's killing me that I've spent days and afternoons and conversations of I just want to get a summary of benefits because I now have to pay half of my copay. It's just a summary of benefits. Then I'll get a call saying, oh, I understand you were calling about your evidence of benefits. It's like, no, I don't want evidence of benefits. I have those. I want a summary of benefits. And I do have the evidence of coverage. And I'm like one of the few people that could actually read the damn thing and not understand it. And it's just crazy. I keep getting for a group plan for something else. Then she said, well, do you want to open up a grievance? I said, no, I just want a summary of benefits, like a little pamphlet. So then I get a call from someone. I'm calling. Did you want to open up a grievance? No, I don't. And the next day I get a letter. Then he calls again. So then again, I got the same wrong thing. And he actually, I wouldn't say he doesn't know anything. He doesn't, but he understands what he doesn't know and what's wrong with this picture, instead of just, and so he says, like, Karen, I'm gonna make this right. I'm gonna figure it out. Gee, I can't figure out why this is like that. I find myself constantly with these people. I have to explain to them why they can't do their job. It's just crazy. So then again, he sent me something printed from the internet, but it wasn't the information. It's just, oh my God, just makes me crazy. And I just see it getting worse and worse of people in front of, it's AI really, it's like everything's automated and let's get rid of people. So I don't know how we're going to do that. We won't even need to meet. We'll just have, we'll have, they'll have, Rick can just have our faces, our avatars.
No way. No way. Not happening.
Okay,
So
so what?
Karen, that is not actually so funny.
It's
About
not funny.
3 months ago, we got a hold on a second. Let me just tell somebody. Uh, about 3 months ago, we got somebody reached out to us from some center at USC, University of Southern California, and it turned out it was a professor in the AI group, and he found our meetings, and they were designing they were designing an AI moderator, and they found our groups, and they thought our groups were so good they came to us and asked us, would we agree to allow them to use our artificial our recordings to create artificial intelligence. And we went back and forth with them, and ultimately, and they weren't going to identify anybody, but they just basically wanted to use the responses and to program in. And in the end, we said to them, look, if you're doing it for nonprofit, yeah, but if you ever commercialize this, we want something out of it.
Oh no.
And they turned
Because,
around and they said, sorry, no, we can't do that. And we said, all right, well, we can't help you.
but what
You
could
know,
stop them from getting these videos that are online?
well, they won't use them unless they have they have our permission, because our lawyers have
Well,
told
So
them.
oh,
you're
I
saying, they potentially could make a profit off of me volunteering.
Right.
yeah.
And we said, look, and the guy said, no, well, we'll never do it. But it was written into the agreement they sent us. And we got a volunteer attorney who's one of our guys who was really nice. And he went through everything. And Dr. John and I negotiated. And we said, okay, all we ask you to do is make a donation. So, oh, we don't think we can make a donation. This is USC. How much money does USC have, for goodness sake? It's one
It's
of the
on
wealthiest
principle.
universities. No, they can't make a donation. They just want us to do it. And then we're the bad guys because we won't share our technology, our intellectual property. And we said, no, we won't. Well, we're never going to use it. Well, then take that language out of the agreement. Well, our lawyers won't let us. Well, then you got a problem with your lawyers, not with us.
But yeah, I don't think you should help them. I mean, that's just me because it's crazy. It's just crazy. I'm seeing it more and more, because I'm not mobile. I'm hardly out in the world, and just everything I need to do, I get this wall. But Frank, I'm sorry Jennifer's not here to hear this, but Frank will be happy to hear it, and so will everybody else. But I do say, I do badmouth the MS Society, and I might have to take that back. I think I have to completely swallow those words because I've been sharing that I'm trying to get a lift, and just even trying to get a lift has been crazy. Even if I wanted to pay the full price of 7,000, which that's a big ouch. And I succeeded in finding a used one, and that was going to cost like 3,900, and the MS Society offered to pay half, and so already that sounded good. And I still need to get a deck built, but my contractor wants to wait till the lift comes, which makes sense because if it came in or you had the deck, I wouldn't be able to easily get in and out of the house the way I'm used to it. So I got a call yesterday from the MS Society last week, and again, it's like she was really great, but she happened to be on vacation and she didn't get back to me because people don't want to talk. Okay, maybe because I talk too much, but I mean, people don't want to talk. They just want to text. You know, I've got a paralyzed right hand, an injured finger. I got to remember, I got to poke this, and I poked the wrong thing. And I just wanted her to know how chaotic it was, because how can I ask for money if, well, this person said that and that person said this. So they've kind of been stalling at the place that I found, but I think they're legitimate. And he said, he said the beginning of August, it'll be a 2-week delay. And then now it's a 3-week delay. And then I talked to him yesterday, he goes, it'll be at the end of the month. And is that okay? And I'm like, not really. And then he said, well, it'll be there on the 30th next week. So, but I think that's really happening. And then I wanted her to know how chaotic it was, because how do you ask this organization to pay for something when you don't have the item or you're not sure? They say they will, but they don't. It's just like everything is chaotic. And I don't really feel like I was getting screwed around by them. I mean, they're actually humans. You know, they actually go places, and they're in Phoenix, and they have someone come up to Oakland, and you know, they answer the phone. So I just think it was just a series of whatever mistakes. Or so I talked to her last week, and she was really great, and she said, Karen, you had so much going on, you should compliment, you know, I'm just so great, you know, do you realize just how great you've been? So that, you know, Chris always makes you feel good. And she was really good, and she wanted to know more about my MS. I keep losing stuff. What do you mean? What's that about? So then she said, well, you know, there's another organization. We can only offer 2,000. Last year it was 3, but we can only offer 2. There's another organization in California called Helping Hands or something. And I'm going to get in touch with them, and I'll get back to you next week. And they should cover the rest. And she called me yesterday, and she said that they already sent the money and they'll cover the rest. And so
That's
this
great.
place will get 2. Yeah, they'll get 2. But then the rest was like 1920. And then I called him, and he said, oh, yeah, let me check the bookkeeper. Oh, yeah, we got a check for 1750. I'm like, I can cover the rest, like whatever that is, or why it came to that. So I've been pushing boulders, you know, I've just been pushing boulders. And at a certain point, I just went, I just have to pull back, and I have to trust it's going to work out. And I just have to just, you can only push so far. Yeah. And I was pushing with my doctor, and she called yesterday. And sometimes things do work. Like, well, I don't know, it didn't happen yet, but it feels like it. And then I did my ADA complaint at the pool, which there should be a lift. So everything's about lift, being lifted. And the lift is not there. And they had their meeting, and I can't remember all the details now, because there were a bunch of things that I was asking for. Oh, the shower seat. It's like toddler height. No, and I've written about it over a year and a half ago. So the ADA committee, they had a meeting, and then they sent this woman out, and she studied inclusion. So she was really great. She's young, you know, like, and then this guy said, she's not that young. She's like my age. You know, how old are you? 29. Okay, she's like 30. That's not young. So, yeah, that she was totally on it, and she got it. Now, will the city follow through on that? I don't know. And there were a bunch of other items, but I certainly felt heard. And then I really did a big number on the guy who's in charge of the pool. I don't know him, but every one of his responses was, well, if you have a problem getting a handicap spot in the flat parking area, why don't you park up on Hanley Road? Which is like, 3 stories above. And so it was like, well, I mean, anybody could figure out because there's a ramp. Like, how would I get there? How would I get up into? There's not even a path or a ramp. Everything he offered, and then he said, "Oh, well, you could just go to this pool and that pool." And so at least I felt kind of heard and very eloquent. And it's like, this is a pool I've been going to for 22 years. It's a warm pool. There's a community there. It's outrageous to tell me to go someplace else because they haven't done anything. And then they said, "Oh," and then he already put in a thing, a requisition to get the shower seat fixed. So I wrote in my thing, I don't think this guy is the right guy for this. I mean, every one of his suggestions were wrong, were this. I mean, what happened when I wrote to him a year and a half ago? Did he put it in expedited? Is it a priority or what's going to happen? So I don't know what. And then he said, I don't. And then they said, and he doesn't know when they're going to get the lift, but they're going to try to find money another way. I don't know what happens when you put in an ADA complaint. The people handling it, they're all disabled. They're advocates, but they're also bureaucrats. They have to do whatever. You have a grievance, you have to follow this process. But after, I still feel pretty good about. Oh, and they also said, oh yeah, and then he'll handle that the access ramp has always got garbage on it. No one cleans it, and he'll handle this other thing. Well, it didn't get handled, but I feel heard. All around.
Okay. Well, thank you, Karen, for the updates. Hopefully you'll get this ramp sooner than later.
The lift, not a ramp.
Excuse me. This is where the cognition issues where Marla was talking about comes in. This is what the AI needs to go. I know. This is what he was talking about.
And trying to get things done when you have those cognition issues and people don't see it, they don't hear it, they don't see it, they don't get it. You look great, you seem fine. Okay, Carmen, so you have fires, big deal. So you can't breathe when you're outside. Okay, like so your house isn't burning. Okay, you got to add all that on to whatever's going on. It's like, it's just, and then since you did like that report, I'm going to do it again because I've been doing that tibial nerve stimulation and it's working.
What are you doing with the nerve stimulation that's working?
It takes away my urinary incontinence. That's pretty big. That's
well,
pretty
you've been
big.
doing that for a while, right? You've been doing that for a while.
But it was getting worse, and I didn't think to ask about it because everything's getting worse, right? You have MS. You're just like, yeah, now I need a pad. Well, now I need a bigger pad. You don't think. You just get used to it. Like this finger doesn't work. I don't know that I'll ever be able to bend that finger again. I'm so used to loss that I'm not like, well, I got to get this fixed. It's just, you just keep getting things chipped away that when I hear everyone, I mean, I'm sorry to say this, I'm just glad I'm not in pain, and I'm glad I'm not taking infusions because I would not tolerate those things. So
what is the treatment kit? What is it called?
I thought I sent you, but maybe you didn't see it. I sent you last week about it.
I want to type it in the chat, Karen, because it's kind of lengthy.
I can't type, okay? It's like I have a paralyzed right hand. When I type something in, I have to take my finger. I'm on my tablet now. It makes it even harder. Yeah.
Thank you for sending it to me.
It's frustrating. Did you see it? It was.
I didn't look.
Because I had sent it to Hannah the day before, so I just sent it to you with whatever comments
Yeah, it got busy last week.
I sent to her. But yeah, I just want to keep promoting it because it's amazing. Something, when you got pain and you take a pill and it works. What? It's amazing.
It is amazing when you have something that you thought that you lost and then you're going to be able to regain it back. I'm going to just take an aside here, Karen, and tell a personal story for me personally. So I went up to Minneapolis a couple weeks ago in my 2007 Honda Civic with a manual, and my AC conked out going up there. I got the week before the engine light went on because I found out the airflow sensor to my engine, the wire was broken, and then on the way home the maintenance light went on. I need engine coolant refreshed and an oil change. So I came to my attention that even though I've loved this car and I've had it for 16 years, that it was time for me to maybe look at a new car. And one of the biggest things when I was in Europe that really, I talk about, your intuition, your gut, that little voice that just harasses you to do something. And my voice was like, you need to travel, you need to travel, you need to travel. And I realized, with this 2007 Honda Civic, I really don't feel comfortable traveling. So my husband and I were looking at new vehicles for me this week. And I have no technology in my '07 except, anti-lock brakes. I think there's some airbags, cruise control, power windows, CD player. And we were looking at all these different vehicles, trying to figure out what I felt comfortable with. And then I got into a Nissan Rogue. And when I hit the reverse button, and not everyone has this problem with MS, I'm a unique person. I noticed not only did they have a backup cam, but they had a 360-degree camera on the car. So you have a front end on both sides underneath the side view mirrors and in the back end. And you have an eagle eye view. So it looks like you're looking down at the stripes when you're parking in the parking lot. And for all those who don't know, I lost my ability to know where my back end of my vehicle is about 10 years ago. I have no concept of where my back end is. I am like a driver with a learner's permit that gets in the seat of the car for the very first time. And before, I have driven large vehicles like a F-150 work truck with the manual. So I have been driven. So I got in the car and I'm like, what is this? I'm like, oh, there's another spot here too. You can blow up and you can see the side. And I'm like, wait a minute. Because the thing that terrifies me the most is parking lots and backing up because of that issue. And I'm like, wait a minute here. So the next day, the guy that helped us was off work, but we went back to the dealership. And I said, I have to find out about these cameras. Is this something that's just kind of like fun to have, but is it really helpful? And so I was like, hey, I just want to, I want to use your car. I want to test drive the car. I'm just going to be in your parking lot, and I'm just going to be using the backup camera, trying things out. She's like, okay, no problem. So my husband and I are in the car, and I'm sorry if I get emotional here. I back up in a diagonal parking spot the first time, and I cried. Because I thought I would never be able to do that again in my life, I thought it was reminded me a lot when I thought I could never bike again because of the fatigue. A slight hill would kill me with energy levels, and I was afraid if I could get back home. And now you're like, I can back up now? The cameras work under 4 miles per hour, either going in reverse or in drive. And now I have complete bird eye view of my vehicle. And it also shows if I turn the wheel where my car will go, which is huge for someone with spatial abilities. And I love this other vehicle. Subaru was great. But I'm like, this 360-degree camera is a game changer for me. I get functioning back that I thought I lost. And I was terrified. 2 weeks ago when I parked at my aunt and uncle's house, I was in their third spot. That was the garage was not completely to the, it curved. And a client of theirs had parked right next to me. And in the curve, behind the curve is a couple trees. And I did not feel comfortable backing out my car. And so my uncle backed it out because he hasn't driven a manual in like 10 years and wanted to relive the glory days of manual driving a stick. But it's just, when I was in the parking lot with my husband trying these and doing it several times, like I'm going into, driving into a tight spot that I normally wouldn't park my car in between two vehicles because I didn't feel comfortable of the spatial issues. And I will back up a little bit here. So about 10 years ago, my last house we had garages that we parked into. And then when I parked the Honda Pilot on the right side of the garage, I kept hitting the right view mirror on the garage door, on the thing. And I remember specifically backing up one day. I'm like, it's just an attention issue. It's just an attention issue. So I paid real close attention backing up, and I hit it again. And I just realized it was a spatial issue I was having from MS. And so I understand, like, when you're talking about getting function back, when Mike is talking about lessening the pain, you're talking about helpful bladder issues. It's like someone gave you your keys back on, like, parts of your life that you thought that you lost forever. And 10 years is a long time to not know where your back end is. Thankfully, I'm very cognizant of that and aware, and on times when I'm too tired, I don't drive at all. But the fact that the technology has evolved, where now I feel comfortable doing this kind of things, and with slowness and patience, I can do what I need to do in the car again. And it's very freeing. And I had to think, because it's like, oh, that's a lot of money and that's a lot of things. But then I had to remember, if I was using a wheelchair and I needed a van accessible, I wouldn't be like, oh, well, I can't get this because of the money. You get what you need to be able to live your life as full as possible. And it's just like, because I had a hard time with like, oh, you're not deserving, why? It's just like, this is what I need. And my husband, so amazing, he was like totally on board with me. And he understood. And like, this is my car. And he's like, okay. And he didn't complain or anything. And that was just a wonderful surprise that I found out this week, that I will have better with the tools of the safety, because that was the big thing with getting a new car, is not only having something that doesn't need constant maintenance, but also the fact that the safety features was the huge factor for me. And so sorry to hijack the conversation.
Yeah, it's hard to know. I mean, it's hard to know because you're just reminding me that, like, it's great to get another car, and it's hard to know, like, when it's time to shift to something else. Like, now you got me thinking, because my car got fixed. I had dings all over it. My car came pre-dented, but then it really got dented and banging into poles, and the yellow ding here and the yellow ding there. And then I had that accident, and I couldn't. I finally got it fixed, and I got it back, and it looks like gorgeous. And I thought, well, maybe I should sell it now, because it just like added several $1,000s to it. And should I get a different kind of car? Now, you got me thinking about that, Kim, going, well, because I feel like I can't really drive a bigger car. I can't. I'm used to this car. This is weak. I know how to make the shifts on it. But
I feel with this car, it is bigger than what I'm used to, but it's more manageable because of the cameras, and also a lot of other cars they do have that technology, but it tends to be on their higher or bigger end models. So like the Subaru had it, but it was on their Ascent, which was way too much car that I need. So it was fun to find one that was smaller. But yeah, that was a question I asked my neurologist. I asked, hey, I have this issue. Is this? And they're like, oh yeah, not common, but yeah, that is definitely your MS. So, because you just feel like crazy, where just one day you get in your car and you're like, how do I not know where my back end is? Like, seriously, like, I've known my back end for like 30 years. Like, how do I just one day just go?
Yeah, the Honda doesn't show it, because I had, well, then my Toyota did, but my previous Toyotas, you could see the front and the back end. The Prius is like the Honda. And so I never liked the Honda because I couldn't see the back end, And then I had a friend who goes, well, I don't like your Toyota because it's like a tank. But I don't think it's that crazy to not know where your back end is, because you really can't see it on that Honda.
Well, just not having a feel for it. Like having a no concept of where it's kind of like walking at night and you don't know where the furniture is at. Like, you just have no concept. So there was something else I was going to say. Oh, so if you want me to travel in the future to visit you, I will have a reliable car in the future. So that's it. Anything else you wanted to say, Karen, before we go to Sherry? Go ahead, Carmen. Go ahead.
Sorry, I just was asking again, what was the make and model that you're getting?
It's a Nissan Rogue. The 2023 Nissan Rogue. Yeah,
cool.
Yeah. So
brand new. Well, since I just want to share about the doom and gloom and how you lose things. And I was never an artist, and I never wanted to be an artist, and it's not anything that I spend much time thinking about, but I came to that group with Jen and Kim and Elizabeth, to that first sloppy mess we made that's on the gallery. We need better things on the gallery. And then last year, it's been about a year that I've been going to Hannah's class at the MS Foundation, and I really couldn't do this assignment, but I made up my own. And it's just fun. It's just kind of amazing to me that I can do something like, she's always amazed because they're using paper and they're doing things in a different way than me, and I just find my creativity, and I just kind of have
What is
fun.
that, Karen? What's it on?
It's on my tablet. I
What do
make
you make?
everything with my tablet. I mean, this is just a picture of it, and then I have
But
like
what
I make.
program? What do you use?
I have a Samsung Galaxy S6. I have a tablet. I mean, this one's just a cheap tablet to look at. And it just comes with a little program. And I often don't know what I'm doing, like these little circles, because they sort of came in, because I didn't start that way. I started, and then I come up with creative names. Like sometimes, oh, it's not cooperating. Sometimes I'll send Hannah what I, what I did, because I'm usually not done. Like it started out like just like that, and I called it tablecloth,
Mhm.
because it looks like a tablecloth. And
That's what
then,
it looks like. Yeah.
and then I kept adding more of those things. And then I was like, okay, busy plaid, then I got added even more. And then I called it dizzy plaid. And then I just kind of went to town with all those little things. And I thought, oh my God, it looks ridiculous. It looks crazy. I got all those little circles and shapes.
Hey,
But somehow
Karen.
I figured out. So anyway, I figured out how to make the things work. And it's so exciting when you find something new. That's
Karen, I love the fact you're thinking outside the box, especially with your finger injury. I do want to get to Sherry because she did want to share tonight. So,
if it wasn't for
did you have anything
AnCan.
else you wanted to
If
say?
it wasn't for AnCan, I would not have this new art habit.
I love your new art habit, Karen. I think it's amazing being creative in a way that you never thought you could be creative. I think it's
And
amazing.
and it makes
Thanks
up
for
for the
sharing
ones
that.
that I lost. Okay, Sherry, sorry.
Do you use Procreate?
No, I don't want to even know anything. I don't really want to know anything. I don't want to get more fancy. I bought a Samsung Galaxy S6 tablet. It's really nice. I bought it 3 years ago so I could maybe learn, because Marlo said you need to do these things 2 years before you need them. And it's true. I bought it. So maybe I could learn how to write with my left hand. And I didn't, because I had trauma with the OT person. And then I just never did it. And then I started doing the art thing, and I pick up a pen and I can write. Not great, but I can. So it's just, yeah. And sometimes they're on sale for $250, and it comes with a pen. So it just comes with a pen, and I don't even know how their program works. It's very simple, and I'm always going, I don't know how this works. But even if I did, I wouldn't remember. So there's something kind of fun of rediscovering every week. Well, how did I do that?
So don't be afraid of new technology. Be patient. Try it out. You may be surprised. Sherry, what do you got for us tonight?
She left.
No, she's still here. I think she's just
Oh,
messing. You keep going your microphone off and on, Sherry. Try now. Can you talk?
Hello?
Say
Hmm.
something, Sherry.
We could hear you say hello, Sherry.
Oh, do you want to call in? Do you want me to give you the information on how to call in?
Yeah, I think we just lost her. Yeah.
Okay, we'll give her a second to come back in. I will say while we wait for Sherry to arrive, our next meeting is in 3 weeks, not 2 weeks, but 3 weeks on September 12th, which sounds really far away. And I just realized I had my infusion the day before. So I apologize ahead of time on what kind of wacky feelingness I am after my infusion with the steroid.
Well, let me pass along something that's good news for a change.
Let's hear it,
Uh,
Frank.
for those of you
Frank,
that are on,
Frank, 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 can I just say something? It's actually on September 10th, not September 12th, but you were close. September
Are
12th
you
is the
sure?
Thursday.
Are
September,
you sure?
oh, September 12th
It's a Tuesday.
is the Tuesday, right? Sorry,
Yeah,
my bad. My bad.
that's okay. You're looking at a European calendar. I know, Rick. You just need to. Just kidding. Give me a hard time.
I was looking
So
at
when is
October. I was looking at October and not
Yeah,
September.
that's. I understand. Not everyone. I try to spread the cognition issues to everyone equally. It's not just me.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Now I'm really embarrassed. Now I'm truly
No, it's
embarrassed.
okay. It's
Okay.
okay. That's why you fit in so well because we're this time of night. We're tired. We're punchy. It's been a long day.
You guys are all human.
Isn't
That's
we?
what.
To err is to be human. Isn't that how does it say, Carmen? To err is to be human. Is that the
I think.
saying?
I don't know.
air
Maybe
is
something.
human.
Human,
Say it
no
again,
AI.
Frank.
Go again.
To
I
air
said
is human.
human, no AI.
Yeah. Okay, ready for my little story?
Yes.
Those of you that remember that, a couple of months ago, I had a little minor heart attack. And our hospital doesn't have a cardiac unit. So they transferred me to the hospital about 25 miles south. But they transferred me in an ambulance with the nurse, and I had an IV running. The bill came in earlier this week, and it was a $1,250 ambulance ride. That's the bad news.
is that
The good
all?
the good news is that VA picked up 100% of the charge. Not only did they do that, but because when I was in the emergency room before they transferred me, I ran up a $1,300 bill in the emergency room, and they paid 100% on that also. So they paid $2,500 at 100%, no deductibles at all from the VA, and that's our VA that's not doing a good job anymore. Just got to give them a little pat on the back for that.
Yeah, and when I get those deals from Kaiser, I pay it forward. I'm like, okay, I didn't have to pay my copay. Let me leave a big tip here. Let me do this. Let me do that. So now Rick could be calculating. Karen didn't have to spend $7,000 on her lift. Frank didn't have to spend.
The important thing, Frank, is how are you feeling now?
Oh, I feel great. I mean, I caught it in time. When it was relatively minor, and I'm charging on. I mean, I'm not having no effects from it at all. I got to pay attention, but I'm, doing my blood pressure every day and keeping track of it and all that kind of stuff. But hey, at 72 years old, what do you expect? Something's going to break. It's just that the heart, you kind of need that.
Yeah, it's pretty important. I'm glad to hear that you're doing okay, Frank.
This is the first I've heard of it. Did other people know?
I don't know if I did, if I ever mentioned it or not. I was in the hospital for 3 days.
Yeah. No, you mentioned it. You mentioned it. Frank, we never see you in the Veterans Health Navigation group, which is this Thursday at the same time. And I gotta tell you, man, that is some good group. We've got guys in there who have found out about benefits and paying for things that they never. We got a general who suddenly found he didn't have to pay for his meds. I mean, it's really worth attending. And also, any of your friends who are vets, have them attend, because we spend a lot of time talking about navigating the system, and we got some great experience on that call.
I will join you this Thursday.
Thank you. And tell your friends as well. If any of them are having trouble, tell them, because we the people go very happy with that call. They like it. I mean, frankly, if Karen was a vet, I'd tell her to come. She isn't a vet, but she should come anyway because she loves our calls. Maybe it'll help her navigate KP. Who knows?
Well, I mean, I managed to navigate KP, and what's so sad is that my providers just say, Karen, it's just amazing that you can do this. I keep saying, if I'm a poster child for success, it's really sad. It's really sad. It's just more, I
I
have
do
lots.
have a question. We're talking about joining groups, and it made me think. Did anyone else? Is it just me? Had problems getting into the room tonight for this session? If you did, raise your hands high, say aye, something. Okay, it was also me. I had also a problem.
I have no
Okay.
And
problem
I
at
did
all.
too.
Who did
The
not have a
problem
problem?
is, I did
Andrea.
have a problem. Yeah, I did have a problem. I've been having a problem for the last couple of days. The thing is, you call them up, you waste an hour and a half. They tell you, well, nobody's been reporting anything. You say, well, I've got 5 people from all over the country, and you never get anywhere with them. So,
Yeah, welcome to my world.
well, believe me, it's not just your world.
No,
And
that's
It
why.
seems
we
like
don't
it's
even.
been more of a problem lately, Rick. Like it's been more problematic the last month or so than like the last couple of years.
Well, it got
For
better.
me.
It started getting bad for us anyway. It got better about probably about a month ago, but then the last week it's gone downhill again, and
Well,
we see it.
maybe I have an insight for you. I don't know. Because I usually go on my big computer, but I decided to go on my tablet so I can move about the cabin. And I tried to get on because I have GoTo on this tablet. Oh, that's what I'm on. That's why I can't show it to you on my Samsung Galaxy S6. Um, I can't show it to you, but I have the app on there, and I've used it once or twice before. And I tried to get on through the app, and the app said, "Oh, we've upgraded. We're changing. We're not going to have the same app anymore. You know, do you want to do something now?" It's like, no, because it's 5:30. It's 5:40 now. No, I don't want to do that. And I had to try different ways to get in, and I don't think it was my MS that was the problem. And then I looked at the messages because Rick's been real chatty tonight. And so I looked at the messages, and then I got frozen and it said the app's not working. Do you want to get out? And so I couldn't even push the microphone or the camera. And yeah, so
Well, maybe
Well,
that's
they
why I
I
don't
don't.
have problems because I always join through my web browser.
And that's what,
Okay,
and
so Andrea, you're joining through web browser, and are you using an app for that or not? Are you on your computer or?
I'm on a laptop, and I'm just using Microsoft Edge.
well, I'm using Chrome and I'm going in the same way. So
You're doing
go
okay, Frank, with joining or not okay?
in with a browser, everything is fine. When I go in with GoToMeeting, I have problems too.
Okay, so maybe the browser is the best approach on that. Okay, good to know. Anyone else that had problems or not problems, how did you join?
and,
It
I'm
just
I'm
made me.
on Android, and I think I'm on Android, but I think in the end, and this is for Rick too or anyone, because it says here, just pop this in your browser. That didn't work. And then go to, I always have it on my computer, so I have to go into Barasinski's room. I don't want to say the name wrong, but I did. You got to go into the room and click here and do that. But on this tablet, I think in the end I went with the browser, and my browser's default to Firefox. Now I can't remember if it worked or not. So I think I tried to go in with Chrome. You know, there's like always like you got to. like problem stuff. No, we don't like Firefox. We're gonna go in with Chrome. We're gonna just. I had several issues
It made
getting
me
in
Okay.
there,
reset
but
my password
it did
again.
say, "Do you want to upgrade?" So when I get out of this, I'll upgrade.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, it made me reset my password again. Like it signed me out, and so I don't know if that was my computer or if that was the system, but that was why I was late because I had to reset my password.
Oh, I don't even have a
Okay.
password. I never go in with that. It just says, "Would you like to go in with the browser?"
I don't think Sherry's going to make it back on tonight. So, as a group, would you please remind me in 3 weeks, if Sherry is back, that she needs to go first? Okay. I cannot rely on my brain and my notes. So please, I'm asking you as a group, help remind me to have Sherry go first. Okay.
We'll
Does
try.
anyone? Thank you. Hopefully with the correct. Did we have like the MS Brain Trust or what was something like? Tim was we had it called something. Does someone remember what we called it? The MS Brain Trust or something?
Come
I
closer,
can't read that,
It's,
Marla. Can you
it's
put it
it right
closer?
here. There's
closer.
nothing written on it yet, but it's the reminder.
Okay.
It's a post-it note. So I
Oh,
Okay.
have a
that's what.
post-it note on my computer.
Perfect.
We
Okay.
should call it
Uh,
the MS Brain Distrust. Like,
So,
just,
I actually have a question. We seem to have lost Tim, and he actually disenrolled, and I have no
oh,
idea what's going on, and I don't know.
you
I mean,
mean
has anybody heard from him? And I sent
mean
him a
you dis
note and didn't hear back, and
you
I
mean
don't
you
know.
did what when you say disenroll, like he doesn't want to get email reminders?
Right, he unsubscribed is probably the correct
Do we
term.
okay.
want to talk about that on the group thing, on the recording? I'm just
Um, Probably not, but I was
saying.
asking if anybody had heard from him, if he's okay, because it's a
I
concern.
haven't heard from him. I'm assuming when someone doesn't show up for a period of time, I'm assuming their life is really busy. He does work full time. He
Yeah,
has twin daughters. He's a pretty busy guy.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
was he working on like 3 podcasts on the top of that? So I'm assuming he's super busy.
Okay, just saying.
But I have not
Yeah,
heard anything from.
but I see what Rick is saying. I assume different because we have different DNA, Kim. I assume that people are not doing well and they just really don't want to deal with this because we've had a number of
Okay.
people that come and then they disappear and I
Can
don't
we
know
have
what
someone
happens.
reach out to Tim this week? Does someone want to be in charge of that? I keep looking at Frank. I just feel like Frank is so good at email.
I
I'm
don't
like,
have it.
maybe
I don't have his contact information.
It's
Rick
I
will send
think
you his contact
yeah,
information.
I'll put it in there, but it should be in some of the past emails, Frank. And I would say I'll do it, but I've done it and have not gotten a response, so it would be good if someone else was willing to do it.
I'll give it a
Yeah,
shot.
I'll put
I'm all
his
tied up this week. And I'm the worst people. I am the worst person on emails. That is the worst way to get a hold of me. I am the worst responder on emails.
right. So
It's not my best form of
okay, I'm putting
communication.
it, and anybody who would like to, and I'll put it's Tim
Just
Brien.
put it. Don't say his email address
Yeah.
because this is recorded. So just put it in the chat box. Okay. Is there anything anyone else wants to discuss before I turn off the recording for tonight?
Oh, wait for him to type it in the chat box.
Okay. All right. I'm going
It's
to stop the recording
it's
then.
there, and I'll remove it when I post. I'll remove it. We never put the emails included in the chat. So